So 6,500 American soldiers, 3,500 British and Canadian, up to as well 9,000 Nazi Germany troops. The estimates of the numbers of those who lost their lives in just one day as 150,000 Allied forces landed on the Normandy beaches. It was the biggest military operation in history, perhaps the one worldwide that has been so religiously commemorated ever since. This year, 80 years on, perhaps the most poignant one ever, as the number of people who survived that fateful day dwindles even further. Today, here in France, President Emmanuel Macron then hosting US President Joe Biden, King Charles III of the UK and the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau as they reflect on the immense sacrifices that were made. Well, we're going to cross live, first of all, to Colville-sur-Mer, where later today commemorations will be held at the US and French cemetery there. Our senior reporter, James Andre, is joining us from there. James, I mean, it is going to be, isn't it, a highly emotional day, of course.
Yes, it is a highly emotional day, of course, because, as you were saying, there is a series of commemorations. The first ones are actually will be taking place very, very shortly in Vers-sur-Mer. The British, the King Charles III will be there. Emmanuel Macron will be there as well in this memorial, this British Normandy memorial that's just been built. It was inaugurated in 2021. It's the shape of the Union Jack, and there you can read the names of the 22,443 men that were serving, or men and women who were serving under British command and who lost their lives during the battle for Normandy. Part of those names as well was the over 1,700 who died on D-Day itself. And well, the second ceremony is going to take place here, where Joe Biden, the US president, will be coming later on there as well, joined by Emmanuel Macron, and he will be paying tribute to the more than 9,000 people who are buried here in this cemetery. You know, this is right next to Omaha Beach. Omaha Beach is known as Bloody Omaha when D-Day took place, and indeed these troops landed. This is where the most American troops died, 3,000 in just one day, as indeed though the German defenses had not completely been destroyed by aerial bombing and artillery. So this is why Omaha was the toughest beach, really, of the 5 landing points were devised for D-Day, and this is where most men died. And then on the beach itself, well, there will be the international ceremony later on today. 25 heads of state and government will be present, including Volodymyr Zelensky. The Russians were not invited. We were told by the Élysée Palace that the conditions, given what was going on in Ukraine, were obviously not, would not enable for a Russian representation at this ceremony, though usually there is, because, as you know, of course, the Russians played a very large role in liberating Europe on the Eastern Front. Well, this year they will not be there, but Volodymyr Zelensky is, alongside Biden, alongside Emmanuel Macron, as I was saying, 23 other leaders, so which means there'll probably be some diplomacy going on. And indeed, well, yes, Joe Biden and Emmanuel Macron will be meeting formally with Volodymyr Zelensky down the line.
And of course, the crucial people who are there, James, are those veterans, the surviving veterans, perhaps the last time that there will be any of them left to commemorate these events.
Yes, absolutely. It's interesting because I was talking earlier on to a French soldier, actually, who decided to be here today. And I said, you know, why was it important for you for this 80th anniversary? He said, because it's the last time. He said, you know, it's the last time. And a British man was telling me, who will be attending this ceremony, part of the 12,000 people taking part, he was saying that, you know, there are 167 British veterans who've travelled from the UK to France today for these commemorations. And of course, yeah, numbers are dwindling. Some of them are actually, and this has been widely reported in local media, have actually crossed the channel on boats from where they started off 80 years ago in order to come here and to relive, if you like, this moment. Also, there is this American veteran who, on one of these ships, as he was crossing, actually, well, died simply because he was too old, over 100. He was heliported over to Germany, to a hospital, but could not be saved. So, you know, this does show how fragile this population is. And of course, these people are front and center in these ceremonies. 11 of them will be decorated later on today with the Légion d'honneur by Emmanuel Macron. They're all in their late 90s, early 100s, and that, of course, means that these are the last witnesses, and this is why it's so important to transmit this memory. It's so important for younger generations to carry on remembering what's happened here, and this is why these commemorations are so important, of course.